Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of OTT.X Webinars, where we bring you thought-provoking insights from industry-leading executives, experts, and innovators from all sectors of OTT, CTV, and the streaming space. My name is Jose Rodriguez, and we're delighted to have you join us today. Today, we are joined by a good friend of OTT.X, Adam Rumanek, Chief Executive Officer of Oxmode, to learn how to supercharge YouTube channels with the latest AI-driven strategies. We are very excited to gain firsthand knowledge and learn some more about resources that will help automate workflows, optimize content, and maximize impact on the worldwide platform. We encourage you to submit your questions into the Q&A bin, and time permitting, our speaker will get to them throughout the session. To learn more about these cutting-edge AI tools and the proven strategies to take YouTube channels to the next level, I will now hand it over to Adam. Adam, thank you so much for joining us today. Take it away.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And thanks for everybody for joining. I'm going to do a quick screen share, a little presentation that I sometimes like to walk through on this. Let's see if it allows me. And it doesn't. Let me try once more. Oxmode, share. Jose, can you see my screen? I don't think you can.
Not yet, no.
Not yet. Let me try once more. Tab. There it is. All right, welcome to my presentation on YouTube and AI streaming. Before I get started, I'll do a quick introduction of myself and the company I work with and stuff we do here. Oxmode's been around for just over a dozen years. We are a YouTube partner. Our primary platform we work on is YouTube. We do digital distribution on other platforms. We specialize in building YouTube channels, monetizing, content protection, claim mediation, geo-blocking, deliveries optimization, and finally revenue reporting. Arguably, revenue reporting is something everybody needs. We are multi-platform, so we can merge reports from different platforms together and give you or your bookkeeper one readable report. I'm going to skip over to what we can do in AI right now. If you have any questions along the way, please drop them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer. So today, I'm sure, well, if you haven't heard of such platforms as Midjourney, OpenAI, I'm sure everybody's heard of ChatGPT 4, which is their text-based AI engine. Midjourney is pretty famous for poster art, images, creating images in AI. It's something we've been using for a couple of years now. You can also do the same thing over there on OpenAI using a product called DALL-E, and they also have dubbing tools. There are many different platforms out there, but I'm going to be speaking of the ones that we use and a lot of our customers use. So today in AI, you can definitely do audio dubs. We've been doing them for a couple of years now. We've found that we've been doing more and more of them in the last couple months. Single voice trailers is pretty easy. It's probably about 80% accurate. I wouldn't use it for Prime or certain SVOD platforms, but in the AVOD world, it is quite acceptable, especially in, we do Spanish, Portuguese, and Hindi in that order. Spanish is arguably the second most monetizable language in the world. We highly recommend that if you haven't dubbed your content to Spanish, you go ahead and do it. If somebody's charging you for it, it won't be long before it's free on the YouTube platform. I've already used it. A lot of people have. There are companies out there dubbing, like 11 Labs. I'll give you a list of companies you can go to on the next slide that will dub for a flat rate monthly fee. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for YouTube. They also have products out there where somebody like David Attenborough's voice has been dubbed, which you can use. You can pay for that. You can dub anybody's voice and use them in your trailer, or if you have a single language narration type of documentary or something like that. They actually, for David Attenborough, they did that as an open source project. It works. So now you'll be hearing Planet Earth for the next 100 years, I'm sure. Image generators, we used to use Midjourney. It's kind of, if you're not familiar with a product called Discord, it's kind of it's a bit of a roadblock to get in. We highly recommend everybody here on this call, go use OpenAI. It's really cheap to create a custom thumbnail which is a movie poster on YouTube. You have to know a bit about prompting, telling it what to do. These tools that I'm mentioning, by the way, you don't necessarily have to use them and think that it's the end all be all of the tool. They're really here to make your work faster. And your internal graphic artist, it could just speed up the work they're already doing. All of these tools I'm mentioning just speed up the work you're already doing. That's what we use them for, and that's what I recommend that you use them for. So again, with the image generator, you can easily create a movie poster. For a World War II movie, you can say, blue haze, 1943 tank, Germany, 2 people, blood on the face, and up will come a movie poster. And they're very quick. I personally, we create thumbnails for a lot of our customers, included with our costs. We don't charge extra anymore. We used to. They're so good and so fast. You can actually use a template with this, and then they'll overlay on a template. It's great. It's good for episodic TV as well as feature films. Text. People ask me about text all the time. I'm not sure if anybody here, well, I'm pretty sure everybody here has a Gmail account, but if you've enabled, what's it called, Gemini on your Gmail, you should enable it. I think it's free for everybody right now. It can really help you write an email pretty quick or respond to a question. It does need, I would highly recommend not just to, insert and send. You probably want to read what it came up to you with these writing assistants. I feel this is going to be the year of agents. An agent is a chat. It's a way you can chat with any single company with the predetermined scripts that the agent has readily available. Every single company is going to have their own agent. It's like a customer success person. Well, I'm not going to say it's going to replace that, but it's able to answer a lot of, I don't know, say you go to on a family vacation and your flight is delayed and you have to stay overnight and you need to speak to whatever airline that is. It's probably going to be an agent that's been commissioned with a script to tell you how to get your refund really quick. Every single company in the world is going to have this, from airlines to even companies like ours, which will help speed the process. We're more service interested, so I don't know how we're going to use it, but I've looked into it already. And lastly, what do AI engines do today? You can actually create videos with them. I played with a tool where you can, especially compilations, you can select 10 videos on YouTube, and it can take the most watched portion of that video and build a compilation of those 10 videos. So if it's, Christmas time and you want to create a Christmas compilation, or the Hallmark kiss at the bridge at the end, for every Hallmark story kind of ends the same, you can build that compilation on the fly using AI. You can actually take the top 3 of a movie. The variables are quite robust on all these programs, but you can create compilations, best ofs. It's amazing how much video AI generation is exploding. Those examples I gave are for what our customers are using on their YouTube channels. I don't know anybody who's building movies or TV shows using AI engines. I've seen some funny stuff out there, with people creating sea creatures and all sorts of lovely stuff. The reality is, I don't think anything today is you can build a TV show out of it. Downstream, I'm sure in the entertainment industry, everybody's looking at it. I do believe you can create backgrounds that are usable now. I've seen that done for movies, which is pretty cool. And it's full video background. It moves. It's great. But I haven't seen anybody actually creating it with people. Here are some companies that we use every single day. Anthropic, if you haven't heard of it, Google it. It's unbelievable. It's got a lot of press lately. It's great. We use 11 Labs every day. OpenAI, Meta last summer came out with a more robust engine than I've ever seen any other company use in the AI world. Midjourney, I mentioned at the beginning, it always has a place for me because it is, as we say, the OG in the industry. It definitely is the one that a lot of people who are into AI were using years ago. They've expanded a lot, and I broke YouTube down there. The reason I wrote YouTube, because they've unveiled quite a number of AI tools that are definitely helping the platform. If you haven't dubbed your content yet, YouTube is actually launching a free dub tool on the platform. Obviously, you can do closed captioning for free if you upload your SRT files. It's pretty simple. But they're introducing a lot of new tools on the platform. I think dubbing is going to be one of the biggest ones that our customers or TV and film customers will probably be using right away, because it's going to generate revenue really quick. We've noticed anything that generates revenue quick, people seem to pivot towards really fast. But there are a lot of other tools that they're using. The platform's kind of committed to providing these tools to help creators create more. It's not necessarily create content, but create more content. Maybe have ideas on how to shift towards the habits of their users to create content in that genre. We've seen it with influencers. I know it because I've played with some of these tools. Oxmo was lucky enough as a company to see some of these features. A lot of these initiatives that YouTube are bringing to the platform, and the reason they're bringing them so fast because AI is moving really fast. You can also, YouTube has an AI audio recommendation engine for your video instead of just adding videos. A lot of the stuff is probably not released on your specific YouTube channel, but you can see creators like not Jimmy, Mr. Beast. He talks about it all the time. A lot of those multi-language channels he created were done through I think it's 11 Labs, but with a allow.google.com. It's their AI dubbing tool. But all of this stuff will be available this year. I used to say sometime this year, but just recently in 2025, we've been told before the summer. Almost everything I've been talking to you about will be available on YouTube channels before the summer. And even YouTube announced that, I think a week and a half ago. So you can kind of Google, the CEO of YouTube, and he announced a lot of these upcoming platform changes or platform tool additions. So let me just see, is there any questions before I continue? Because I can go on forever. None so far. But let me continue with the one that I think you should use today when it comes to AI, and that's thumbnails. Creating an eye-catching thumbnail, I think, is probably the most important part of your video. Essentially, when you upload a video to YouTube, it chooses the thumbnail for you. I find people are very lazy. We don't even like to read the title, description, or tags. We look at an image, and if the image catches our eye, we're going to click it. This might not be you, but it's definitely more than the average user on YouTube. So I'd highly recommend using one of these companies listed on your screen to create thumbnails, the most eye-catching thumbnail possible. I wouldn't use, there's a term called clickbait. I wouldn't use an image that if it's not represented within the video. When you do that kind of stuff, it's called clickbait. It actually works negatively. If somebody clicks your video and leaves your video, it means that the YouTube search was incorrect. It means the person who was looking for a tank ended up getting a cartoon. It's probably not too good for kids. But if you use images within your thumbnail that attract users and they watch for an elongated period of time, that is highly recommended. It also gets you higher up on the search results. And there are two different types of search results I'm talking about. One is when somebody searches for whatever that person wants on YouTube. And the other is called suggestive search, which is arguably more important. There's not a lot of times you go back to the search when you're using YouTube. More than 51% of the time, people click on suggestive search, what YouTube's AI algorithm tells it what you want to see next. So I would highly recommend creating thumbnails built within those criteria, meaning not only do you want to attract users on their first search, but once they're finished watching something else, you want them to click your thumbnail. And it's better to have a better thumbnail because when you finish watching a video, I'm sure everybody's watched YouTube videos, you see the suggestive search, you want to click on the videos of that search. You want the person to click on the videos, and having a better thumbnail will get them to click your videos over somebody else. Other ways that AI can help that we've seen people use is helping with titles or SEO. So search engine optimization tips, titling, description, and tags. Those, like, a lot of people are using these title generators. We actually built one for free and gave it away on our website. I'm sure people are familiar with TubeBuddy. It's a great product. I love it. In vidIQ and all these engines. A lot of people are charging for stuff, but a lot of this stuff can be, unfortunately, you can get it for free on some of the tools on the screen right now, as well as people like me are just building it and give it away for free. Title generators, tag generators, thumbnail generators, description generators. Often, Wikipedia probably has a better description than anybody else can create, but I would highly recommend using certain keywords within the title and description that are in relationship to the thumbnail as well as to the video. All that needs to relate. All of this stuff can be built really quick. There is a bit of a formula to all this, or it's called YouTube best practices. If you're not familiar with it and you're working with a company, ask them. They'll tell you it's standard stuff. This isn't tricking a system, AI. This isn't trying to get #1 on the search engine, because, as I mentioned, it works against you if they click on it and leave. I really, really work within the best practices of YouTube, but also use these tools to help with your title, description, tags. Unique descriptions are really good, especially if people stay and watch. But again, the thumbnails, it's a really important way that you can get users to watch your content. There you go. Actually, that is the last slide of my presentation. I'll leave this up here for the rest in case anybody doesn't know of these companies. Take a note of them. They're really, really good to start your learning when it comes to AI products. Out of all of them, the easiest one is OpenAI. As I mentioned before, Midjourney has a bit of a roadblock getting in. Most of the tools, if they're not easy to use, I'd move on to another one. That's the way I work. If I can't figure out a sec, then they're probably not going to be here in the future. They got to simplify. Most of the tools that we use are pretty simple. I'm gonna click on the chat. I'd like to engage the audience. If anybody has any specific questions I can get into, I always find it useful if somebody has a question somebody doesn't want to ask. It really helps when people start asking questions to direct the conversation that most of the audience might have questions about. Hey, unless you have any questions, Jose.
Absolutely, I do. Yes, thank you so much for the presentation. I do have a couple questions from my end and from the OTT.X perspective. First and foremost, you've been involved in this area for a long time, so I did want to ask: do you see any long-standing tools or strategies that are quickly being replaced or will be replaced in the future by the implementation of AI?
I think thumbnails is my #1 thing that I was just mentioning. I think thumbnail generation is probably the most important thing that I think people just, for some reason, don't give enough attention to when uploading on YouTube and creating content. I mean, they spend a ton of time on their movie poster or trailer, as well as creating the actual video from the TV film or the brands. They've got to spend that same amount of time on their thumbnail. It's called a custom thumbnail as opposed to movie poster. That's what YouTube calls it.
Mm-hmm. It's
so important. There's not a YouTuber out there or a YouTube show out there that doesn't focus on that. I think the tools I'm seeing, especially in I clicked the wrong button. I took it off the screen. Especially on the companies that we put on the screen previously, every single one of them talks about that. There's a reason that there's such continuity in competitors. And there's also a reason that YouTube will do this for you in the future. They know how good it is. As well, I think the YouTube engine is not going to be creating what's called clickbait. I'm curious about what it will create from your content, but almost positive they're not going to create something that's going to make a user click off, because that's the exact opposite of what they're trying to do. So my number one thing, strategies in AI in the future would be custom thumbnails. And then my number two would be dubbing content. Traditionally, the cost of that is so outrageously expensive for especially YouTube creators who are vloggers, not traditional TV, film, or brands. They were the first ones to do multi-language even before even our customer base. Now we kind of give it away. And people think, why? I'm like, well, if you have 40 videos, now you have 80, 40 in English, 40 in Spanish, and then Portuguese, and in that order for monetization reasons. Now all of a sudden you've got a portfolio of content that's a lot longer. We've already seen every customer already do this. What I think with AI might change or might have a problem with as a strategy, that people are kind of creating videos from videos. This is not a good thing, in my opinion. I don't know the laws with AI. I'll just say this right now, if somebody was thinking. It's happening now. There's a lot of lawsuits going on. People stole the entire Reddit or scrubbed Reddit for text. People scrubbed the New York Times, BuzzFeed. These ML engines or machine learning engines that are training the AI, they're working together. You know, the tech industry is notorious for stealing and begging forgiveness and paying a fine. It's not like there's a bunch of companies out there asking for your content, and I'm going to pay you, and they're going to use your content to learn and give me the cutting room floor. Yeah, that's good because they're playing honest, and I can totally appreciate that. They're fair companies and trying to, do the T's and C's and get it done correctly. But that's not how business is, unfortunately. They've already stolen all your content, if you don't believe that. I've been using the internet since the 90s. There's nothing fair about this. They're going to steal it, use it, and who gets paid? The New York Times, BuzzFeed, Reddit. You and me will never get paid any of that money. All these people trying to do it legally, I applaud them, but that's not how tech works. Google tech industry, all they do is pay fines, and they pay to the country. So there's some great strategies I mentioned, and unfortunately, some of these other, I guess monetization streams that people are thinking are coming down the pipeline for AI. I don't know anybody's been paid either. So all these companies are pitching us all over the place. I keep on asking, so who's been paid? I don't know anybody's been paid. I ask around. A lot of these companies are mediocre. If you kind of Google them and you Google who's running them, there's nobody from the AI world running them. And by the way, on the back end of YouTube, there's a checkbox where you can click the box and it says, allow AI to learn from your videos uploaded to your YouTube channel. But what it doesn't say, there's no revenue involved in that. So I don't know why anybody would click that button. I believe they're teaching their own engine. I don't know what effect that's going to have on the search engine. I don't know if it's good or if it's bad. I don't know if it's innovative. We're all figuring this out. Everybody's doing these partnerships and all sorts of things, pushing the boundaries, I guess. But generally thinking, what works today, what strategies, your initial questions are thumbnails. It works. Create good thumbnails. Double up your content and dub it into Spanish. Don't pay anybody to do for this. Just work with whoever you're working with. If you're working with a competitor Ox mode, ask them to do it for free. They will. Everybody's doing it. If they're on revenue share, say no. Have them do it for free. I highly recommend. Don't do a revenue share. They're just going to be taking money for nothing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, thank you. And yeah, and it'll be interesting because you're right. It's still very much the wild, wild west when it comes to AI. So there's a lot of legal ramifications still to come. And then one other quick question. What AI tools are currently being used the most, or what do you see quickly being implemented by companies around the space?
Well, currently, on an off topic, if you haven't written your resume in AI, it's foolish. I mean, it's the most widely AI part of the text-based resume. I mean, everybody in the world is doing the same thing with writing their resumes. That's an easy one. But what tool in this space is being used most? That's a great question. I mean, We've seen a lot of people play with the tech stuff first because it came out first. I guess it was 2023 or late 2023 when ChatGPT came out and the whole world started using it. Nobody even knew about AI. And now everybody's talking about AI. Oxmo, we've had a patent in AI for, I guess, since 2018, 19, a worldwide patent as well. That's how we run the back end of our company, why we can do so much volume. But I would say, you're seeing odd things for AI. They're using AI to pick random winners of contests they're using title generators, text generators, presentation generators. Google just opened up Gemini for free on the back end for enterprise. We have an enterprise account at Oxmo, not the standard Gmail, but it basically is Gmail, but under our name. It's free for us right now. So I would say text is by far the forerunner by volume of users globally. But for what we do here at Oxmo and say YouTube platform, our customers have been pushing us for dubbing for way more than a year. And we started, we did a single voice. We run a YouTube channel for a customer. It's single voice. And we dubbed one season. And then as well, we did one in Spanish in Latin, in Mexico through a company we use that has basically dropped their price 3 times in less than a year. And their Spanish employees said it wasn't there yet, but it's good enough for YouTube. So it was good enough for me. And then we did season 2, I guess, coming out of the summer. And we're just finishing season 3. And we're already over on single voice dubs. We're already over like 80% accuracy. Oh, check this out. So this is really cool. So dubbing would be the second one. But in OpenAI, this is how fast it is. In 2025, they updated the dubbing tool. Your English-Spanish translation is beside each other with the video on your right side, kind of like this Zoom window I'm looking at. And then if you find something in Spanish that isn't correct, you can change it and changes the dub on the fly. That didn't exist like in November of 2023. So it's becoming so granular on the dubs. I mean, even at 80%, I don't speak Spanish, but my friend Jose does. I can ask him to look at it. Like it is so good and so quick that you can do that, change the text, changes the dub, and then, even cooler on OpenAI, you can, or I think it's 11 Labs, you can copy and paste the YouTube URL. You don't have to download and upload anymore. That didn't exist like a year ago. Like they're just building this for YouTube. It is the largest social media platform. Or video-based platform. It's like you take the next 10, add them together, it's not close. So they're giving this stuff away. So I do believe those are the 2 most prominent ones that if the only takeaway, if I can give this group, would be dubs, because you're going to make a ton of revenue on it, and then custom thumbnails. I'm sure everybody here has the idea of what their title of their episode is, or what their description is. Maybe tag generator. A lot of people sometimes, I feel, their tags aren't correct. But if you're working with a company that understands tags, get them to help you out with 10 videos. You'll figure out tags. But there are a lot of YouTube tag generators. We actually gave one away for free last year. You can Google it. There's so many free ones out there.
You're giving the whole farm at Oxmo, huh? So many.
Well, anybody who charges for something that we can code in a weekend, or we can get done over summertime hours, so-called hours, we're just going to give away. And by the way, I'm a huge fan of TubeBuddy. So don't get me wrong, or 11 Labs and some of these companies. I'm a massive fan. So they spend a lot more time coding than I will ever do to create amazing tools. But a lot of the stuff will be given away for free. Just log into like 11 or Open and you'll see it. They don't even charge for it anymore. It's a flat rate fee. It's built on credits. It used to be per product, and they just flipped sometime in 2023. So the prices are dropping in the available featured tools for YouTube. What we're talking about have increased in less than 12 months.
Fantastic. And we actually did get a couple questions in from our streaming community. Thank you for everyone that wrote in. First one here. Which platform do you suggest to use if you want to do live streaming shows?
So there are many platforms. We use AWS, just because it's the only platform I know that says 100% guaranteed uptime. You can run it on YouTube. It's pretty easy. I think it's like, and it has the ad feature built in, so you make money on your live stream. I was on a call earlier on today with YouTube about live streaming and how many problems we've been having. I'd say AWS is the best. They are the most expensive. It's not even close to the other ones. They are more than triple the cost. But if you're familiar with like S buckets, there's just really no better company in the world that does this. They actually have a whole YouTube area in one of their backend of AWS.
Mhm.
It's pretty easy. We've noticed a lot of companies over the year do more and more holiday live streaming, 12 days of Christmas. I highly recommend it as well. Don't bother trying live streaming. What is it? The crackling fire or the fish tank? Those are all taken. You're never going to get a billion views and make $1 million. Don't bother. But I definitely agree in creating some sort of holiday TV tradition for your company for live streams, if that's what you're thinking. It's a great idea. We do it for a ton of companies.
Absolutely. Another question here. Which AI software do you recommend to produce animated cartoons?
Yeah, that gets asked me. I just did a presentation on this like less than a couple weeks ago, all the time. I don't know what to say to that. The cartoons they're using to create that animation are the people who they got that content for being paid, because I'm certainly not being paid, and they stole my Reddit. They stole my feed. So it's one of those things. The laws are being built now. I do believe Anthropic is pretty much, tier 1 company out there. It's hard to recommend it. You can actually build compilations on YouTube using almost any one of the tools that I've given you. Maybe not Midjourney, but I'd say Meta is probably going to be one of the best in the world at building it. They have so much capability. They're so much faster, even though you don't think they're faster when you're using it. But as you're building animations in 8K, it is just incredibly fast. You have to pay for it, though. And by the way, all these companies, I think on the left, including OpenAI, they're all actually operating at a loss. You're getting to use their products cheaper than what it's costing them to give you the result. It's like the beginning of the internet. We pay for Gmail. A lot of people here probably have a Gmail for free. But it's a land grab. Everybody's trying to get you to use their products. I actually think OpenAI is the easiest, just they weren't the first. I don't know if you saw Elon Musk tried to buy it for $100 billion a week ago or something. But yeah, creating animations in these tools, I mean, there's going to be so many companies vying for that. By the way, they're all probably resellers and APIing through one of these companies. Everybody's reselling dubs, but they have to back end off an engine. There's no way one of these smaller companies like that we know in the industry without naming names have their own AI engine. They're creating their code just like I do, and I'm using somebody else's API. I'm APIing to somebody else's engine. API is an application interface. They're talking to something else. I can't afford building server farms, but I can give you a tag generator for free.
And then let's see here. What AI tools would you suggest for video editing?
I actually use YouTube Editor, and a lot of people on our team do as well. I use this clipping tool. It's kind of, I'm sure it's an API, but it's pretty good for me. It's like drag and drop. They show me the most watch, and I'm able to select 3 different, parts of a video and comp them to create a compilation. Supposedly YouTube's launching that. There are a lot of collaborations between studios and software companies like Adobe. Adobe is by far probably the leader in all of this when it comes to image, video, and audio. They're moving pretty fast. They just don't advertise it like the rest of them. Anybody who uses Adobe pretty much knows the old ways of doing it and knows the new ways of doing it. The old ways of doing it are still available on Adobe. I use Adobe like every day, as well as I use the ones in the browsers when I'm traveling on my laptop. Even they have AI in them So I'm an old school Adobe user, pre-C-suite or CS. So if you're chasing some of these new brands selling these products, I would just go back to the original one, because they have all these projects built into it. As well, I noticed Adobe has templates in their AI engine. So you can actually use one of their templates to create rules based around what it is you're looking to build your animation or compilation or best of. Back in the day, all YouTubers were building their best ofs all year round. They were just adding their couple seconds to the best football or baseball or cricket score. And then at the end of the year, they launch it December 1st. And whoever launches it first gets the most best of 2025, views. Now the AI engines are building that in like seconds. It's like, I'm not even curious how people are doing this anymore. It's just like, oh, wow, how did they do that from last night's 5 different NBA games in like 60 seconds? It's an AI engine just comping it together and spitting it out. It's amazing. The old ways of doing it are gone for any big developer, but you can still do it that way. So I choose Adobe. I don't think there's anybody better out there, in my opinion, but there are other companies.
Yeah, fantastic. One other question we have here. Do you think it's important to put on the thumbnails relevant or attractive information regarding the content, even when, for example, you're trying to sell content that has familiar artwork, movies, for example?
I'm a less is more kind of guy. So if it's a TV show, it should be name of show, season, episode number. If it's a movie, less is more. Obviously, if you have like, tier 1 stars, use their names in the title of the YouTube video. Sometimes if you have somebody that nobody heard of, I don't know, in 2020, and now there's some superstar starring in a Bob Dylan movie or Dune. If you had Timothy in 2020 as a side character in some movie, redo the thumbnail, put him in there, and put him at the front instead of whatever the A-list star was pre-Dune and Bob Dylan. I mean, it's an obvious play. 100% switch that thumbnail. As well, summer's coming up. Lighten your thumb. You can have a thumbnail best practices where you overhaul thumbnails to seasonality. For Christmas, obviously red, and Valentine's Day just passed, and then summer, or in North America, we have the NCAA basketball tournament on, and it is just so big. There's like a crazy bet for $1 billion if you get 64 right of the 64 teams, and Warren Buffett pays you $1 billion. Nobody's ever won it, but it's on like every thumbnail on every basketball site that I go to. It's impossible, but obviously, when chasing the people who like sports and betting, which is obviously gambling is huge, I'm most excited to see what thumbnails they have this year and who's going to be like, on that image. I would remember when doing that, you're going to have to switch it the next day, because once the tournament's over, it's over. Switch that thumbnail to something else. It becomes stale the day it starts. Nobody bets on a tournament the day it starts. It's over. You can't take any bets. But I would definitely think about best practices and stuff like that when building up strategies to specific areas or themes. Christmas, basketball tournaments, cricket tournaments, the Olympics that pass. Always build towards that. And then we got the NBA finals coming up, the NHL finals, and then baseball starts, football starts, cricket starts. So you got to build around strategies around all of that.
Yeah, if you can tie in with mainstream events or happenings, that's really smart. I love that idea.
Oh yeah, people are Googling the words, and then you come up because you just tied in. I mean, mainstream media is doing your work for you.
Yep, absolutely. And then one final question here. Of the available dubbing tools that are not reselling, which have you found provide the best results?
I don't use any of them. I only use the ones I showed you, and that's more than enough for me. So all those other companies that we all know about who are selling traditional dubbing, or if you're working with a company like Oxmode and they're telling you to dub and work, yeah, I don't do it. I tell my customers to go there as well. We do a lot for free because it doesn't cost us any money to do an extra dub. It's a credit system. We get a boatload of credits that I'll never use every month anyway. So I highly recommend use the ones I showed you. We all know of the other ones. They show up at every event that I'm at and you're at. I would suggest ask them if they're using one of these. And if not, how are you in competition with one of these? Because I don't think you're going to beat Google or Facebook or OpenAI. OpenAI is like Microsoft, by the way. They own half that company. So how are you in competition with them? I don't think they're going. So that's always been my answer. I'm excited when somebody starts a new company, but you gotta, you know, unfortunately, you gotta take the long game here, and these companies are not going anywhere. So there are limits with some of those companies. I've been pitched more than anybody probably in this, in our webinar here today. We have a ton of content that we run for a lot of people, and they're saying, could we be your, and I'm like, no, these tools are easy enough that people can go direct, or we'll do it for the first year for free for everybody. I'm abandoning the idea of somebody beating one of these, but I'm not thinking that somebody, the odds are pretty low. I wish somebody would, but I can't give you a referral or an idea of something that I don't use.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that's totally fair. Well, Adam, thank you so much. That was a tremendous presentation and definitely gave us some insight into how AI is being implemented, some tools that we can use starting now, and strategies for how to stay ahead of the pack on YouTube. Thank you so much. That was great. This session was recorded and will be available for viewing on demand at OTTX.org. And please reach out to the OTTX team if you'd like to connect with Adam, and we would be happy to facilitate that connection. On the horizon, we have plenty of exciting events for OTTX. On March 19th, we'll be hosting a Women's History buzz session featuring prominent female executives taking on the latest industry trends, stories, and breaking news. Join moderator Charlene Polite-Corley, VP of Diverse Insights and Partnerships at Nielsen, and panelist Jen Chen, Chief Revenue Officer for JWP Kinetics, Maria Hellstrom, Chief Executive Officer for CodeMill, Laura Martin, Managing Director, Senior Internet and Media Analyst for Needham & Company, Teresa Phillips, Chief Executive Officer of Spherix, and Paige Sherman, Director, Digital Video Programming at Shout Studios. On March 28th, OTTX will host roundtable discussions in Los Angeles with the intention to form dedicated working groups composed of the right stakeholders who will collaborate beyond the event to develop real-world solutions for industry-wide challenges. The roundtables will focus on AI and streaming, monetization operations and business impact, overcoming key challenges in advertising and streaming, and EPG metadata and SCT standardization in a fragmented landscape. Finally, on April 6th, OTTX will return to the NAB show and host an exclusive breakfast for its members at the Sterling Club. Fuel your body and mind by joining your OTT community with networking opportunities, a great breakfast, and presentations focusing on the year ahead and all the happenings at NAB. To learn more about all of our upcoming events and initiatives, please visit us at OTTX.org. We thank you once again for joining us. We hope to see you next time. Adam, thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank everybody. And go to those events. They're great. I love them.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah.